because I was one of those complaining about officiating in all sports before I became a commissioner.
Hold up. What did she just say? An eyebrow-raising clip of Commissioner Cathy Engelbert has just dropped the biggest bomb of the season. And trust me, once you hear her words, you'll never see this league the same way again. Because if you thought the WNBA was finally protecting its stars like Caitlin Clark, think again. If you believe Caitlin Clark's career and the whole WNBA are in danger under this commissioner, write "Cathy must go" in the comments below. Because that's exactly how fans are feeling right now.
The Indiana Fever are on the path to make a postseason berth as well, clinching a spot, but without their star Caitlin Clark. When you think about the number of injuries this season and going into the postseason, how does the league continue to build the momentum when some of the star power may be sidelined?
Yeah, I've said this before. Injuries are it's one of the toughest things in sports. But the reality is you're already seeing it in the NFL. There's high profile ones in other sports. And it's totally unfortunate that we've had high profile injuries this year.
Now just imagine. Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and half a dozen rising stars have been brutally injured and even sidelined for weeks. And instead of cracking down, instead of making officiating tighter, what does Cathy say? She shrugs it off and actually compares the WNBA to football. Like injuries, elbows, and body slams are just normal. Seriously? Normal?
This is a joke, man. This is a joke.
And believe me, fans aren't just mad about this clip. They're calling it a green light, a license to injure. It's almost like Cathy just signed a death sentence for stars like Caitlin Clark.
We all have been waiting for has arrived. That is Cathy, the biggest gangster on the planet, has responded to everything that has transpired this basketball season.
And just when you thought this was a one-off slip, you're missing what's really been happening all season. Because this isn't just a clip. It's a window into how the WNBA Commissioner actually sees the game. And once you understand that, it starts connecting every single frustration fans have been screaming about since day one. The injuries, the bad officiating, and the constant targeting of star players. That right there is the root of the problem. It was never random. It was always a system. And now it's finally out in the open, so stick around. And let's break down the whole truth. So the WNBA 2025 season is closing, and playoffs are around the corner. And right before they even begin, Cathy Engelbert drops the kind of news no fan wanted to hear. She went on a podcast and finally spoke about the injuries. Yes, even the brutal hits on Caitlin Clark. But here's the kicker. She didn't talk about the horrific refs. She didn't mention the broken scheduling, and she didn't even call out the dirty physicality that's clearly illegal under the rules. Nope. She just brushes it all off and calls it part of the game.
I've said this before. Injuries are it's one of the toughest things in sports. But the reality is you're already seeing it in the NFL. There's high profile ones in other sports. And it's totally unfortunate that we've had high profile injuries this year. Our data shows it's about, the same injury rates as last year.
And believe me, every word out of her mouth shows four things crystal clear. She doesn't actually care about protecting star players. She treats reckless physicality like it's a feature, not a flaw. She compares the WNBA to the NFL, like elbows and body slams are just normal here too. And worst of all, she acts like bad officiating is part of every league, so just deal with it. Now let me just play a part of this video for you guys.
What steps is the league taking to ensure the fair and consistent calls are being made throughout these high stake playoff games?
Yeah, I think, Christina, I smiled when you started that question because I don't think it's just this year. I think every year, everybody complains about officiating, by the way, in every sport.
You heard that? Yeah, we've all been calling out the double standard refs and the nonstop physicality for so long. And we all believed that the league would take notice and would step in, that things would get better. But now, we finally got a response from the commissioner herself, and she says it's not even a problem. Seriously? And while this itself is shocking news, here's the thing. It's not new. I'll show you that Cathy and the WNBA have already been letting this happen, season after season, and now she's basically admitting it. Let's start with the biggest one, physicality. And before we even talk about the league's biggest stars, Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Chloe Bibby, and Aari McDonald, who've all gone through serious injuries and missed weeks of play. Let's start with something recent, the Sparks versus Aces game. Cameron Brink takes an arm to the face and suffers a bloody nose.
Brink not happy right now. Oh, wow.
Oh, my God.
Happy right now.
Oh, my God. Cam. Y'all doing that to Cameron Brink? The 6'4" supermodel. Man, y'all better. Yo, y'all tripping.
She exits midway through the second quarter and never comes back. Just wow. A player is bleeding on the court, her season gets cut short, and Kathy calls that part of the game? Really? And here's the worst part. This wasn't just any injury either. Brink was making an impressive comeback after a torn ACL last year, and in one moment, it's all gone. She was visibly emotional, bleeding, shaken, and Kathy shrugs it off like nothing.
So, bleeding. I mean, her nose was completely shattered, fam. Hold on. Look at this. Look at this, fam. Look at this. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Absolutely
Is
shattered.
this really what's normal? Because if that's normal, then what's abnormal? Honestly, it's sick. Sick of you, Kathy. And if Cameron Brink's injury wasn't enough to open your eyes, let's talk about Lexi Hull. She took a brutal elbow to the face from Kayla McBride and went down hard.
We're going to look at it. So foul there on Indiana, on Hull there. But then that is a technical.
That is a technical. Dead ball, contact technical.
It's a little surprising to see so many of these happen in one game because...
Oh, and I don't like the way Lexi
But somehow she got up and kept playing through it. At first it looked like she escaped with just the hit. But within 2 days, her face told the real story. A massive lump on her forehead and 2 dark black eyes that made it clear just how bad the damage was.
NFL, and there's Lexi Hull. You can see both of her eyes. Contact with Gabby Williams against Seattle in the first quarter.
Hull kept fighting. She showed incredible toughness, no doubt about that. But here's the bigger question. Is this really what players have to go through? If this is Kathy's definition of normal, then player safety clearly doesn't even exist in her dictionary. And let's just rewind for a second, because this isn't new. We've already seen this movie before, starring none other than Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest player. We've seen her hit hard, we've seen her poked in the eyes, we've seen her slammed to the ground by Marina, clear as day.
Carrington finds Boston. Clark gets hit in the face by...
She's always in the mix. There's a lot of contact here. There's a scrape across the face. That's what Clark didn't like. And then Mabry came in with a bump.
And Mabry's day is almost assuredly going to be done.
She limps off and leaves the game, out of the whole season.
Tough second season for the star player. Injuries have robbed her of several games. She's been out since July after hurting her right groin.
I definitely cried the day that they announced that she got injured.
Thursday brought the news no fan was hoping for. Clark out for the rest of the season.
Sophie Cunningham, gone too with her ankle displaced. Another star sidelined.
Effective down low, and she can get a lot of people in foul trouble with how physical she is.
Sun turn it over for a 5th time. Oh, and Cunningham is down. My goodness.
And here's where it gets even worse. It's not just Caitlin, not just Sophie. Right now, 5 of the Fever's top players are out. 5. And Kathy still calls this a part of the game? Now here's the part that makes fans furious. Because when Kathy was asked about the Indiana Fever, when she had the chance to address the chaos, the injuries, the stars dropping like flies, what did she do? She brushed it off and gave the most tone-deaf response you could imagine.
In this season in particular, several key stars have missed some games, and the Indiana Fever are on the path to make a postseason berth as well, clinching a spot, but without their star Caitlin Clark. When you think about the number of injuries this season and going into the postseason, how does the league continue to build the momentum when some of the star power may be sidelined?
Yeah, I've said this before. Injuries are it's one of the toughest things in sports. But the reality is you're already seeing it in the NFL. There's high profile ones in other sports. And it's totally unfortunate that we've had high profile injuries this year. Our data shows it's about, the same injury rates as last year. But I know that doesn't make anyone feel any better.
About officiating, because this is the part that shows you exactly what Kathy really means by normal. This is where referees don't just miss calls. They choose sides. They clearly favor some players and hit others deliberately.
All this stuff goes hand in hand with the officiating. The officiating of the league need to do a better job in kind of calling out these flagrant fouls, calling these super physical plays, not just brushing it off, because it's looking like they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Paige Bueckers, Bria Hartley. These are names that now carry a whole reputation of being protected. Everyone knows it. They get the whistles. They get the benefit of the doubt. But then look at the other side. The players who actually built the league, the ones who fill the arenas, the ones fans came to see, they're the ones being treated brutally, ruthlessly, game after game. Just take Cameron Brink, the same Cameron we just talked about earlier. We all saw her get injured brutally, but we see no call, nothing.
They ain't even want to review it. They just let her break her nose, didn't call foul, did nothing. This is a joke, man.
Sophie
this
Cunningham,
is a joke.
Same story. She's hit by Bria Hartley, hit hard, and the cameras even catch Hartley smiling afterward. And again, no call. And Marina? She slams Caitlin Clark to the ground, clear as daylight. Still, silence. Somehow nothing's worth blowing the whistle there either. But Paige Bueckers? Oh man, she's untouchable, wrapped in referee protection, and if you think that's just exaggeration, wait until you hear Sophie's own words about her.
I love Paige to death. Do not get me wrong. I think, I think she's a hell of a player and, would love to play with her one day. But those refs were giving her every freaking whistle last night. You literally couldn't touch her. Couldn't touch her. And that shit is so annoying.
Now, let me be honest
to me.
with you guys. After watching all of this, what should the league be saying? They should be calming down the fans. They should be standing up and saying, wrong is wrong. They should be promising that your favorite players are safe and protected.
Do something, man. Call the foul on her. Do something. But if y'all keep turning a blind eye to the nonsense, these players are going to continue to do the nonsense. They're going to continue to do.
But what do we get instead? Kathy. And Kathy's message is crystal clear. Whatever happens in this league, injuries, assaults, players dropping left and right, she calls it part of the game. And the funny part? She even hides behind football comparisons like that excuses anything. But now fans aren't buying it anymore. They're waking up. Just listen to this one. The time has come for players to start taking out lawsuits against the WNBA for reckless endangerment and harassment. And it goes even further. Kathy Engelbert summed up the WNBA's lack of care for players' safety by calling it rough play. She should be fired and then sued by Caitlin Clark and every other injured player who's had to pay the price for her negligence.
Kathy Engelbert is going to find herself in a damn courthouse. Kathy Engelbert and the WNBA are going to find themselves in a courthouse very soon if they don't stop what they're doing and figure this out.
The message is loud and clear. Fans are done watching their stars get thrown around while referees look the other way. And here's the truth. Before next season even starts, this has to change. Safety has to come first. Neutral, fair officiating has to be the standard. And the league must prove that every player matters equally. And let me say this. If Kathy Engelbert can't deliver that, then maybe it's time for her to go. What do you think?